So I don't want to make a mistake. I've spent over 15 hours, almost 16 hours, over on the right hand side, fourth from the bottom time played, 15 hours 51 minutes. So the last thing I want to do is ruin this map. And that's how long it took me to grass the entire map. Now these areas up here, they're high cliffs, like really high cliffs. So I'm going to leave them as cliffs, and I didn't bother grassing them. Anyone who knows no man's land knows that they are just massive. These are mountains up here, and then these become a little bit shallower but still unusable land. So I've grassed and ploughed every bit of usable land around the entire border, and that's the map. These places I've left here, these are that's a cliff edge. This is a monster mountain with a cliff edge at the front, the water area, and the mining area, another cliff here, and a smaller cliff above it. This is a three level. This level here, this level in here, and then the one above this one is also another level. So it's a three-way level through here. The flattest part of the map is this area here. That's the flattest part of the map, and we've also got a little bit down here which is also very flat. So I'm going to put the sheep over here. I'll have the cattle in this area. I'll probably put the chickens over here somewhere, and pigs more than likely in this little strip. So the first field today is I'm going to run along the edge of here with enough room to leave for a fence and a roadway. I'm going to take it out just prior to the edge, bring it down just to where this starts to curve around, and I'm going to cut it up. I'm going to cut the first field through here, and then the second field I'm going to cut along the edge of here, leaving enough room for this road to wrap around, and it's going to be cut along here just before hitting here, which will line up with this edge, but enough room to leave a fence and a road in between here and the field, and that's going to run up to just prior to that little angle in there. So that's going to be one big field here. This one's going to run this way, just in that area, and I don't know, I might just put a small potato field in here or something, but they're the two ones I'm going to do today. So if I take a little flyover, when it loads, you can see I've taken the road out. I'm going to do my own roads. I'm going to cut them in, and I'm going to cut them into tracks. I don't want to have a solid road like this. I want to have two-wheel tracks that run through, so it makes it look real bushy. Now I've already made me markers down here, my straight line markers. I'm going to use that to line up my fields. So the first field's going to run across there, and it's going to stop. It's going to stop across here. So from there down to this marker, and this is going to be the edge. So all that what you can see on the right hand side is going to be one ginormous field. The road's going to run along here, and all these areas are going to be bush. I'm going to plant trees in all of these areas that I've ploughed around. So as you can see, the grass between the natural grass of the map, and it just looks so much better putting proper grass down and then building on top of the proper grass, which is why I went to all the effort what I did. It just makes the gameplay much more fun. So this next field's going to run down as far as you can see to the end of the plough where it hits the edge of the mountain way down there, and it's going to run along here. I haven't put a marker line down yet, but I will do, and it's going to run all the way down to here. It's probably going to stop about here somewhere. Yeah, about here. I might even put a water channel in through here, like a big dam, and then I'm actually going to repaint all of this. I don't like the way this looks. I'm going to redo all this. This will all be bush. All of these areas will be bush, be planted trees. So this field's going to then run all the way down as far as the eye can see, and all that is going to be one ginormous field. So As you can see, I tried to keep it as natural as I could do it. I did plough around a little bit on the higher edge, but that's fine. And so all these will be bushland, trees, so I can log. As you can see here is a bit of a cliff. I've already done a little bit of work here, not much, nothing much to brag about, just some shrubs, a little bit of cutting in, a little bit of extra paint, some smooth texturing, and I'll be able to log if I choose to. I chose to leave these bit in. I could have flattened them out with the smoothing tool and the landscaping, which would have been this one, and I could have smoothed them all out. If I darken it up, you'll see there's quite a bit of a ridge on that peak there, so if you do try and put crop on it, you miss out on bits and pieces. So I just thought I'd leave them in, and it was a lot of work cutting around them and then trying to get all the workers to actually seed them and everything, but once they've got all the trees in there, you won't notice it. This will have the road cutting through, which will lead down towards a left-hand turn here. That left-hand turn will go to the sheep, which I'm going to put the sheep down here. It's a nice flat piece of land here, dead flat. So all the sheep will be in here. There will be about 4 or 5 sheep pastures in here, different ones. I'm going to turn this into a mining area, so I'm going to mine all of this. I will be cutting this straight through deep, and then I'll be having bridges that run across both sides, so it'll be a one-way in. Probably come in here across the bridge. There'll also be a road that cuts in through here that goes under the bridge and out the other side here, and then you wrap around this mining area. Obviously I've got to build this side up, got to build it up before I work on it, but that's going to be in time to come. But this will be a mining area, and I'm going to do it in a pretty crafty little way. So all that there we're looking at will be the sheep pasture all the way through there. There will be quite a few. I've got a couple of open sheep pastures that you'll pull into the gateway, and just give it some realism. As you can see, this gets pretty steep, so there's heaps of grass. This here will be another forestry area. Some more forestry through here around these cliffs. It's a big three-way. This is the three-way level I was talking about. You got this level, you got this small level here, which will have the road cut through, and then you got the top level. I'll probably put more forestry along here, so when the road is cut through here, you'll have forestry on both sides, and when I come up to do forestry, it should look pretty cool going through the middle of some pretty thick bushland. So yeah, and as you can see, these are just enormous mountains. It's you can't use this part of the map at all. You can use it for grass or something, but I mean, I've grassed the entire map. There's no reason for me to do it. So probably throw some trees up on the hill here, plant some, they'll grow up straight. And I just did some wavies here, just so when you look at the map, it's not like a dead straight border that just looks off-putting. Just a little bit of grass there. The workers are so awesome in this game. They do such a great job. Yes, it's going to be all one big massive field. So I'm going to head over to the other track. I'll have 2 workers running on it, and obviously I'm going to put bush in that area there, so I can block the shop out. So the shop doesn't. It's a bit of an eyesore looking at it. So I want to block it out with trees. And we'll see how we go. I'm going to run that one square, about where we are now, up to this line that I've put in. And I've turned autosave off, because if I make a mistake, I do not want to have to plough everything up again. So we're nearly there. Got the other tractor ready to roll. This one unfolded. Put the header down. First strip. Now I've run into problems here before with the workers when I do plough or cultivate. They excuse me. They tend to continue to plough the grass up, and I'm not real keen about that. So line this up nice and straight, and I'll get the beginning done. Somewhere on this line here. Bring the tractor nice and square. See the grid lines a little bit. We'll send the worker on. Our first field going down. And I do expect to have dead straight lines. It all depends on how I line all this up. And I want to leave enough room for a road to get around the outside of the map, so when the tractor nears here, which is about there, it's funny, it knows you're trying to line it up. You don't get any steering out of it, but as soon as you're doing it randomly, it just turns really sharp and does whatever you want it to. I hate the way they program this game. It gives me the shits. These grid lines that they use are pretty pathetic. Now, of course it would go over a bit, but anyway, go on, get going, you friggin' mongrel. For fuck's sake, this is going to give me the shits today. Get going, you retard. Spastic. Righto. I'm just going to do the headland first, and hopefully the buggers will stop. I'll have to keep my eye on them because they'll want to continue all the way to the left of where the field is, and I'm trying to cut roads into this grass, so I'm going to have to be pretty mindful of these guys. I'll stop him there. Do a nice curvature around. Like with all things, what you put in is what you get out, so take a bit of time and patience, you'll end up creating the farm that you want. Leave the worker to run from there. Get this guy up and going, running down the outside this way. Hope this lines up nice and square. Not going to, it's just going to fix me around. It'll go everywhere but on that line. It knows where I'm trying to line up. I'm following the grid of the ploughed area, and it keeps sneaking over even further. It's a very frustrating game. Yeah, look, it's come out one half a road. It's just a piece of shit game. It's a B grade game. Can't even plough on a straight line. These are the workers going off the grid lines. That Giants in their great knowledge decided to build it this way. They expect to sell you every 2 weeks a new DLC. That costs quite a bit of money, but they're not prepared to do anything to fix their game or fix their service. So as much as I enjoy the game, I'm not gonna talk Giant Software up. I think they're absolute just garbage programmers. Constant game crashes because they let mods through that collide with other mods and crash your game. They release it into their mod hub, telling the community that it's safe to use these mods, and then they'll crash and ruin your game. They don't want to know about it. You can send them as many emails as you want. They don't care. They don't respond. But if you send them an email on how to get their new DLC, they will respond to you within that day. Pretty amazing that, huh? Pretty bloody amazing. You send them a ticket about the trouble you're having, they just don't bother replying. So they're a B-grade company, B-grade programmers charging A++ money for their game. They haven't even got a decent server that you can use unless you're in the same region as the person that you're trying to play multiplayer with. And I'm not going to... I call a spade a spade. And as far as I'm concerned, Giant Software are just complete fools. So there's our first field done. What I think I'll do is just try and line up the outside of this, and that'll give me maximum area. It's tricky. I'm sure we can do it. Pretty close. The secret is to try and get it square within these little grids. Alright, worker, off you go. Nice and square for me, please. Oh look, they've always got to miss a bit, don't they? Always got to do it. Workers in this game are just complete and utter garbage. Pathetic. Can't do the most simple of tasks. Like Giant Software, they struggle with simple tasks. Lift up your mongrel. The two boys up here, we're going to do their turnaround, and we'll have our first field down, decent sized field. Get it going. And this guy on his way, and this guy on his way. Every time I do this field, no matter what sort of work I do to it, I am going to have to do it myself, because if I leave these guys to cultivate or plough, they won't stay within the boundaries that I've put down. They will go all the way out to the boundary out there. And I want to leave these grass patches here so I can go around my fields and collect all the grass. I want to put some fencing up, and I want to cut some roads in as well. So I want it to be kind of as realistic as I can do it. There will be a 2-track road out here, a left and a right wheel track. So I'm not going to cut in big thick roads. I'm just going to leave it as bushy as I can. Right with the lead tractor. And then I'm going to be planting all of these forestry areas here in the next, well, after I cut this field in, and I'll cut this field here in. I'll cut another really big one in here, and that's enough to get me going for a while. I'm going to take me time building this map. The cattle are going to be here, sheep over here. I'll probably put the chickens here somewhere, and I might have pigs along the edge of this hill here. So as you can see, it missed a little bit, but I can paint that texture and fix that up. And the rest of it looks pretty good. I have to make sure I turn these guys around like I did when I was cutting the grass in through the field. Otherwise they just keep going and I'll plough up the grass. So I either have to do a good width of the paint, like at the end of the field I have to do a pretty good width, at least this wide, and paint around the edge of the field for him to realise where to stop. And I don't really want to do that. So let him run straight out. That's right, well done, stupid. Get you out of the way. Ready to go back, then we'll get old mate here, we'll turn him around so we're back down. And done. Right near the edge of the mat there, as you can see, which is why I wanted to leave the grass around the edge of the mat. So that the workers and the harvesters won't run right out to the edge of the field and get stuck and, you know, I have to do most of the farming myself. You go, son. Don't miss any. Set old mate down behind him. I always just give just a little bit of overlap. A decent sized field. The reason I didn't use the cultivator plough is because I wanted the plough stake to lock into the game, so the map is actually locked in, showing that that is the boundary of the field. But whether it recognises it or not, once I send the cultivator and the seeder out. So I think the seeder won't have a problem, but I think the cultivator may do. So I'm going to paint that little missed bit in there. And this idiot missed a bit there, but I can do that on the next turnaround, have an overlap. That should be alright. I don't like any of the maps except probably Elm Creek. I think is a pretty good map. Obviously No Man's Land always has been my #1 map. No, I don't really like any of the other maps. I just think that the modders could do a lot better maps than what they've been giving us. But, I don't know how all that works, and I certainly appreciate the modders. But, I just don't like any of the maps. Elm Creek the only one, and that's made by Giant Software. Out of all the maps, Elm Creek is the only one apart from this one that I played. Sad. And that's why I always make my own maps and my own farms. I've got 5 different farms on the same map. One's a hobby farm, one's a livestock farm, and I've got one with residents living in it. Yeah, in many different builds. And I constantly keep rebuilding it, because after playing it for a while, I'm trying to get bored with it, and I want to do more. So I then restart and and try a new plan. But I don't think I'll ever be happy, to be honest. I'm a bit of a perfectionist in a lot of aspects of my life, so I don't think how perfect something would end up being, whether it would ever be good enough, because I'll always continue keep creating another one, another map. That's how it is. We need a little bit of overlap on this one. That's enough for one grid area. We'll come back far enough so then the wheels will turn back around, otherwise it'll go all wonky like it just did. And we'll send the worker out. And we'll give a little bit of overlap on this one. Try not to come in too hot. I can't see the comments, mate. YouTube have got me on a block because I use foul language. So in 2 weeks I'm not able to. I'm able to stream. I'm just not able to see comments. I do apologise, mate. But, I suppose that's what YouTube do when they disagree with you. Which usually I don't give commentary very often. But yeah, apologies for the comments, mate. It's going to be a decent sized field. Up and downhill on the angle. It's good when you're actually inside the cab. You can really feel the hill climbs. We've got a bit to go. That should have fixed itself up, and it did from painting it. The little bit of overlap should take that little bit there that was missed. And yeah, I painted the whole map. Well, I ploughed up the whole map and put grass down, so it's all real. Everywhere I put a road in, you'll be able to see where all the road structures are and everything. And I did that just so I'd be able to see it all. We're nearly done. These are running 18.2 metre wide ploughs. That's why I got the fence in front of them. In January they'll keep ploughing. So now I've put the border down. Maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm about to find that out. Over here, we'll turn this guy around. Probably have three rows to go. So 2 down and 1 back up. Up, so that's coming forward the wheels. You can turn around. Go. Right on that border here, you can see on the right hand side where the actual border is, but if you get any closer than where I am, the workers have a real hard time. I still get stuck. Mindful of that when I planned all this out. Got a little overlap there, we'll send him on his way. One tractor will come back, and then the next field's going to be running the way the camera's looking, all the way down to the mountain down there. So I'll end up cutting the stream in about 5 minutes or so when I get that field all lined up. Not real riveting at the moment, but as the build goes on, when I put the sheep down, I'll come and do that live when I put all the cattle pens in here, big massive cattle area. I'll do that live. The sheep will be mainly open pastures and will be all fenced. It'll be like different properties over the map. And this next field's going to come down here and take up all that area, all in there. So it's going to be one ginormous map in there. And again, all these areas are for forestry. These are all unusable bits of land. So I'm going to put all forestry up there and big thick forestry in here. And that's going to be a road I'm going to cut in through the back of that forestry there. So I've got the plan. I'll just see if I can actually get it done. Just do a quick game save, because I've got auto save off in case I make a mistake. I don't want to ruin 16 hours of play just because I did make a mistake. You can see here 16.5 hours almost on the right hand side, 4 up from the bottom, 16 hours 22 minutes. So that's why I turned my auto save interval off if I do make a mistake. I don't ever want to have to do all this again. This took me 15.5 hours plough and grass seed the entire map. And it just looks so much better having real grass down in comparison to the grass that all the modders use when they build their maps. All this bullshit grass over there, that light green stuff. It doesn't even look like grass, so you know, it'd be nice if they used real grass. That would be pretty cool. That would be appreciated. But they don't, and I don't know if that's one of Giant's rules or something, but who the hell knows what Giant software do. I don't think they know what they do. And I don't think that they even know that they don't know. Put it bluntly. Alright, we'll send old mate up on his own now this time and finish that last bit. We'll get this one started on the next header. I've got my line cut in, so I'm going to use that as the straight angle that I'm going to run everything off. So I'll be building the map from the shot forward, so that everything stays square on the map without it looking square. You know what I mean? It makes building maps a lot easier when you can get them squared up. The difference in grass here, as you can see, I mean that field grass doesn't even look like grass. So it'd be nice if the modders could do something special. Oh, look at that edge. You've got to be kidding me. Workers have always got to ruin something, don't they? Always got to ruin something. I'd like to find a worker that actually does its goddamn job. Now that should look perfectly square. Run this guy. Run him out with the right hand side of the plough here. I'm going to line that up the straight edge of this field. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of that hill, which is why I'm not going to stay live when I do it. Rather boring. I'll do it in bits and pieces. Do most of the work I can. Most of this sort of cutting in work anyway. A little bit more. Follow the grid. following my my right hand wheel with the plough grid line. Should be right about there. Turn this bloke around behind that tractor, get him ready to line up. Where's he going out over on that side? Yes, you know, it's a very frustrating game. It's an expensive game if you want all the DLCs, and if you want to play with your friends, you can't because the servers are absolute garbage. They don't mind taking money off you, but they won't reinvest it back into the game to give you decent servers. But they'll advertise it's the multiplayer game of the year. We all know this full shit. Way. I had to leave a gap of three widths of the plough, and that way the workers will come to an end and they won't continue to plough all the way to the edge. That's what I didn't want. Let's give this a little bit of overhang. Put a marker down. The marker is not at the back. Yeah, we're right there. I'll send him on his way. And we've got that sorted. Now they're gonna take a couple of minutes to get all the way down here, all the way down to the hill down there. So it's going to be one monstrous field. And what I might do, stop him there. I'll just put this as a potato field over here. Put a potato field up here in this area. Guy, make sure he stops just behind the wheel, cutting line. I've got to make sure I stop him prior to that. Right there, drop it back down. Make sure that there. Good. 1, 2, 3. Gonna work out this way. This field he's doing now, this will be the big long field down the back. So and the reason why I just did what I did, I'll share it with you. Way. So if we look at the map, because of this here, I'm going to just put like a small beets or potato field in here, just a small one, and then this one is going to run right down to here, run just past the edge of these two islands, and then cut straight up here. I'm going to leave a little bit of grass between it, so this is going to be one ginormous field. Yeah, so I should be pretty good. So every time I cut a road in, you're going to see where the road is, no matter where I cut the roads in. Whereas on the standard map, you don't get to see that. So anyway, I'm going to end the stream here, and I'm just going to keep working, and I'll complete this big field here. So. Yeah, when I come back and start actually doing the building, I'll come back live again, and catch up with you then. So, thanks for viewing.